So this is day 6 after the first of 2 freezing rainstorms we had up here in Ontario. Pretty brutal ones too, actually. Believe it or not, we got very little in the city down in Toronto, but up here by the cottage and north and northwest of me, they just got hammered. And I'm sure you folks have all seen it, either experienced it or seen it on the news. I had no idea how bad it was. This is 6 days after and 1.5 days after the last of 2 freezing rainstorms. I'm just on my way up. I'm on my concession road right now, heading off to my driveway. And the carnage, the trees down, the hydro lines and hydro posts that have been snapped down all the way through this trip from the city is unbelievable. You've got crews everywhere, but you literally can go for a kilometer and every hydro pole is snapped off and the hydro lines are just laying on the side of the roads. It's pretty incredible. The boys, of course, Guy and Husky Bob and Ralph and Chuck and everybody, they've been without power since last Saturday. This is day 6 without any electricity. And I'm super thankful that all of them, including Guy, finally got themselves backup generators over the last few years because, as I understand it, the telephones have been out up here as well as the power is still out up here, but they've been running off of generator power. Kind of makes you think twice about whether or not you need to put in a little bit of solar at your cottage and a little battery storage. Not for the sake of saving money, but just, Guy used somebody else's cell phone partway through the week because he had to call because he was almost out of propane to run the generator. But apparently he got an emergency delivery, so he's, I think, still in good shape. The phones have been out, so I haven't talked to him. And the internet's out, TV's out, everything's out up here. Myself, I'm going in blind today because I haven't been able to get any type of streaming footage off any of my security cameras up at the cabin. And that's because the internet's been spotty at best, but even when it has worked or I've been able to connect, it's still impaired. So it has enough to connect maybe to, for example, my thermostat, but it will not stream video. There's just no bandwidth to do that. I'm certainly hoping the cabin is okay because, of course, I can't see it, so I have no idea if I've got any trees down on the house or around the house, but let's keep our fingers crossed. After I get settled, I'm going to jump on the ATV and head over to Guy's place and Bob's place, make sure they're doing okay, because I haven't talked to them through all of this. That is truly unbelievable. I cannot believe we had not a single tree down again. Wow. That's just unheard of. First winter without a single tree down on the driveway and 2 ice storms. Chaos and carnage throughout Ontario, and I don't have a single tree in this driveway other than a branch I had to clear. That is pretty incredible. Good morning. Day 7 after the first of 2 ice storms. To be honest, I was a little disappointed yesterday. That was probably one of the most uneventful rides in through the forest I've ever had. I thought for sure I'd be spending the next few days with Bob and Guy cleaning up trees, but not a problem. I got a lot of other chores to do as the sun's coming out again today. It's gorgeous, and it's supposed to get warm again, back up into double digits. On a good news front, Guy got his power back late last night, so he was almost 6 full days without any electricity, and I think Ralph and Bob also got theirs back, so all is well again. But for a lot of you, especially those in Ontario that went through this storm, a lot of you are probably reconsidering or thinking about, do I need a backup generator or a small solar system or some way to generate electricity when you go through these long extended outages? No heat, no food, no oven, no lights. If you don't have a way to generate, at least temporarily for a few hours or a couple of days, as you get a little older, it becomes a little more important. Let me show you what I do. You folks know I've got a solar system on this cabin. I'm too far in from the concession to have electricity, so my heart goes out to the folks connected to the distribution system here, but I'm not. So all of these outages that we suffer up here, and believe me, when you've got most of your transmission, your distribution going through forest for hundreds of miles, outages are a weekly or bi-weekly thing in the winter, and usually at least monthly in the summer. They happen all the time. And you folks that have been with me a while will remember several videos where I actually pointed up and I showed you the helicopter going through the forest trying to find the fault to fix it. You're anywhere from 4, 5, 6 hours to several days. This is not uncommon up here. So for the folks that have a backup, works great. For me, it never affects me because I'm not connected anyways. The solar system looks after everything. I've got panels, batteries for storage in the basement, as you know, and I have a backup generator. But I also have a backup to my backup generator. You might remember the last two generators before this one that I had were much smaller and they were very unreliable, especially in the wintertime. So I found myself in a position several times where the backup generator actually wouldn't work, or it died or wouldn't start. So I ended up having to get a portable generator run on gas. So I always have lots of gas on hand. My backup to my backup generator is a gasoline generator, like most of them are. And I always have 3 full gas cans full of fuel all the time, 12 months of the year. And I cycle them, right? I try to make sure I don't allow the gas to get stale. We use them for the boat, ATVs, splitters, chainsaws, whatever equipment requires gas. And in addition, it's always on hand, especially in the wintertime, for this baby. And I always try to start this up, make sure she's running well, do the oil change, whatever I need to before the winter starts. If I'm not using it, which I didn't at all this winter, what I do is every month or two, I'll take whatever gas is here and I'll dump it in the pickup truck and then get some fresh fuel. And I just keep cycling them. That way I never end up with stale gas in the middle of winter when I need to make sure this thing runs. Plugs into the house, it's connected to the transfer switch, or what you might call a transfer switch. That way if I'm out of solar, batteries are dead, and for some reason that generator is not working, I just have to fire this guy up and I plug him in. I also keep a bottle of ether in my toolbox. In the event that in the middle of winter I can't get it to fire, I just give her a few squirts and she fires right up. If you live in Ontario, this might be a good time to start reconsidering a small solar setup, maybe a little bit of battery storage in the basement, because the government has just brought out some subsidies or some grants. In other words, a discount for solar and storage up to a certain amount. I think they just brought them out in January here. And again, you're not saving money, and that's not the purpose of the discussion. It's more whether or not you have something in place to keep you and your family warm for the next ice storm, right? Whether it's just the generator on its own, or whether you want to go a little further, put a few panels on the roof, put some batteries in the basement. Those batteries I have up on the roof, they're only 180 watt panels. They're actually, geez, I'm getting old. They're 16 years old. So they're only 180 watts, but you can get panels that'll actually pump out 500 watts nowadays. Not sure the pricing, but again, might be an opportunity to get 3 quotes for sure from different companies. You can use a solar broker if you want, but still do your own research and do your own quotes so you can compare, see what type of discounts you're going to get from the government, and then make a decision as to whether having a small backup makes sense to you. But again, can't beat a generator. Let's look at it. This beautiful gem right here, I believe I bought it 5 or 6 years ago now. It's been a while, but it's a 16 kW. You definitely do not want to undersize by saving $1,000 or $2,000. You want a model that's big enough or bigger than the load that you're going to run in that house. If you undersize this, that means it's going to be running at full tilt every second it's running, and you're going to wear it out quicker. Guy ran for 6 days without a problem. He has pretty much the exact same one, 16 kW. I think I paid around $5,000 for this 5-6 years ago. You're going to pay the electrician, I think, about $1,200 or $1,000 for the transfer switch that he needs to put in on the panel, plus whatever cables he's going to run, his time. And here, I believe there's a bylaw that you have to have this generator at least 30 or 35 feet from your house. I don't think you're allowed to have it right beside your house, which means you're going to have to bury cable. So all in, you're probably looking $9,000 or $10,000, I think, Canadian. But you also have that peace of mind. Every time the power goes out, you and your family are going to be warm. You're going to be able to use the lights, use the oven, use the furnace. And when you're younger, it's a bit of an adventure. As you get a little older, comfort and warmth kind of counts. I can hear a lot of you already. GP, you shouldn't be taking that blower off. Snow's not finished yet. But usually now, being that it's the end of the first week of April, we'll still get a little more snow, but it'll be small, short of a storm, of course. But anything that falls based on the temperatures will melt off within a day or two. So I got a little inspired by Paul at Gellin Outdoors. He's got a YouTube channel. I think he's a few hours northwest of me. But really nice fella, does a lot of cool stuff on his property. You should check him out. He took his blower off last week, and I was thinking, yeah, I don't know. But I think the ice storms have passed. We don't have anything in the short term, so I'm gonna get the tractor all ready and fired up for the spring already. Fingers crossed, of course. And hey, if you do start looking at those solar quotes to take a look at what the discounts will give you and whether or not it makes sense, you're gonna run into some companies that are gonna try to flood your roof with panels and tell you need a ton of storage, you need all this stuff, and that you're gonna save a ton of money. Try to ignore the noise and focus more on what do you need in the event of an outage for maybe a day or two. And try to look at it that way and look at what that will do for you. As I've said before, some will try to put panels everywhere on your roof. Anything other than the south side here in Ontario is a waste. If you don't have a roof area that's facing south, it may not be the right decision for you unless you've got a property that you want to put a ground mount on, which is a different discussion and a little more money. But at the end of the day, just take a look at what they have to offer. Make sure you get your 3 quotes. Focus more on what you need, not what they're trying to sell you. And take a look at what those rebates from the government will currently provide you so you can make a better or an informed decision. That's all I'm suggesting. But again, whether it's a backup generator alone, a generator, some storage, some solar, try to think of something that you'll have in place to keep you and your family comfortable and safe for the next storm. It's just a little thought from your old buddy GP. If it's helpful to know because you're trying to size what size of generator you might need or what type of solar system, if you're looking at that option or both, if it's helpful to know, my cabin is only about 1,400 square feet. I have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I have all of the appliances you have in your home except air conditioning. But I also have a sump pump, septic pump. I've got a water pump for the well. So there are a number of other things that I have in there that you wouldn't normally have in the city. For you, just as an estimate or to help you, the middle of winter or my average winter consumption in this cabin is 16 to 17 kilowatt hours. That's what it uses. I run my lights, my furnace. I'm not holding back anything. That's kind of my average daily winter load. And I think that's what you want to kind of size for, if that's helpful. And it's important to keep a cache of gas all the time because you're going to need it anyways, whether it's for your ATVs or your equipment that you're running. But more importantly, when you're out in a very rural or remote area, all of the gas stations, 50, 60, 80 kilometers around me, they're all mom and pop type shops. They don't have the money to have big diesel backup generators. So when the electricity goes out up here, all those gas stations have no electricity as well, which means you can't get gas because they can't pump it. So it's super helpful to have it. More importantly, for my buddies up and down the concession road, they know that if they start to run out, they know where my gas is, I know where theirs is, and they're of course always welcome to come and take some and keep using it to keep their generators going. Just a little forward thinking.
Well, that explains why I couldn't curl. It looked like that's the problem when you're doing. Oh, you're right. I'm totally backwards.
When you're in the dark, though, you can't tell the colors.
No. Let's see if they'll go on nice for me or not. It's usually, it's just, I don't know why they stick them so damn tight in there. After all, yeah. Yeah, we're all good. Let's see if we can curl. I was going a little far there. I didn't know what else was going to happen.
Okay, that's a wrap for the day. It's absolutely stunning out here, middle of the afternoon. We're all done. I actually talked to Guy and he decided he was taking his blower off as well. So that means we have no backup. Whoa. So hey, have a great week with your families. Please, let's be kind to each other. And I'll see you again on the next one. I'm Gord Potter, and you've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.